All right, Friends Who Gamble is back. This is Bowen. Is it year five? You're the only other one that's been here the whole time. I think this is year five. Yeah, that's why, because we're switching to
Yeah,
the conferences after
yeah.
5 years. We're going for change there. So this is the fifth year of this league. We will be dropping this on the morning of Thursday. So Thursday night football, Friday night football. The season will be in full swing starting that night. So I figured let's just get something going, get the juices flowing. We're going to talk about all of the position groups from each team we're going to draft. So we're going to have a snake draft, the five of us, me, Bowen, Angelo, Amaral, and Wallace. We're going to go through, we're going to draft each one. So we're going to draft the starters and the bench, and we're going to try and put together the best team for 2024 season five. And then we're going to put it up to vote for the rest of the league to decide who drafted the best team. So let's just get right into it. I will share my screen and we will spin for the draft order. All right, you guys can see the wheel?
See the wheel.
All right. When it lands on you, you can pick what pick you have. How about that? Okay. Wallace.
Shit, give me pick one, man. That's the only thing I got mapped out. Everything else I'm shooting from the hip. So I'll take pick one.
All right, let's do it.
That's close. Wow.
Me, Benny Fazio. Okay, I'm taking pick five. I'm gonna go with pick five. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna see how it comes to me. I kind of like what we were talking pre-show. I'm gonna let you guys decide how we're gonna do this draft. Mr. Sharpton Bands.
I'll take pick three.
Look
So
at
two,
that.
two and
Like
four.
that's like urinals, public urinals. Just go far away, then in the middle. Okay, hold on.
Everybody's got to see what I'm working with.
All right, Arrow, what do you want? Two or four?
Two.
Let's go.
All right, let's lock it in. All right. All right, I'll keep sharing my screen so we can always see the draft board. All right, Wallace, who are you going with first?
Really pains me to say it. I think I gotta take Heat's receiving room with the first overall pick. I think I value receivers probably the most. You said we're looking at this from like a redraft perspective, and I just think his top two are pretty tough. Puka's a great third as well. So I'll just play it safe and go with the receivers of the slippery man's room.
So you think Garrett Wilson and CD are the 1-2 there, or CD and Garrett are the 1-2 there? You don't think Puka's the? I think I grade Puka higher than Garrett. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was
I had like my redraft rankings, I had Puka like I think one or two spots ahead of Garrett.
yeah, they're close. I don't
Really?
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty high on Garrett Wilson. I just think that he, with Rodgers healthy, assuming that happens, like I am actually a little down on Puka. I think it's going to be more of like a 1A, 1B with him and Cup this season. So maybe I'm just like refusing to let go of Cooper Cup. But I am like a little lower on Puka, but it's still not enough for me to take any other receiver room with this pick.
Yeah, I like Garrett Wilson too. I mean, I tweeted out I have him to lead the league in touchdowns, and I kind of agree. Like, even though I'm more down on Rodgers, really, but I feel like even if he's 75, 80% of what he was pre-injury, if he's, because even I thought he was a little weak in his last year in Green Bay, but even at that, I think he's just going to hyper target Garrett Wilson, and especially when they're in the red zone and at the goal line, he's going to get so much work. I mean, he's competing with what? Mike Williams, who's coming off the ACL, and then like who who's the rookie that they took? Malachi
Malachi
Corley,
Corley.
and then who's the guy? Gibson too. Like those are like the two receivers that he's competing with outside of that. So it's like I just think it's zero competition there. And yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that you didn't take. I would have taken your own receiver room. I mean, we don't have to get too deep into all the picks yet, but I'm surprised that you went receivers there and you didn't take your own.
I gotta stay humble. I gotta stay humble, KB. I can't be flexing on him this early in the episode. All right, we'll give Pete his flowers and we'll keep it pushing. I don't want to dwell on this any longer than I have.
Yeah,
to
let's just
be
get it
honest.
out of the way. I mean, he probably at this point he probably already turned it off. He heard what he had to hear.
Yeah.
He's not too interested past that. But all right, Amaral, number 2. Who are you taking?
Yeah, so that's tough, Wallace, because that's who I was gonna take. But so this like actually makes me sick to my stomach. I'm going Pete's running backs.
Oh my!
I had a bad feeling about this. I did. I had a really bad feeling about this.
God damn.
Gelo could do something really dirty with the third.
I might do it.
He could do
too.
something.
I
he could
might
do something
Don't do
really
it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Just shift your eyes to my team. It's all
Your
the way to
team
the
will be
right.
fine. Your
crazy.
team will be fine elsewhere.
Oh man, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, does anybody have
Yeah.
thoughts? I mean, I do think it's fair. I think when we're talking about best running back rooms, and we're looking, especially at that top 3, we're not looking beyond that. I mean, it's really hard to argue against that. I mean, I
Pete's
think
here.
that
Pete's
I do think it's stronger than Wallace's. While overall, I'd rather have Wallace's starting running backs and that bench, and then having those options. But yeah, I think when you narrow it down to the top 3, it's really between Pete, the Suns, and Wallace. And then beyond that, it's like, I mean, I think that we're, getting into, muddier territory with the running backs. But yeah, I mean, if Pete didn't turn it off now, then he's really, I mean, he's a full mess. This is crazy. His laptop is like face high now. He's like, any other thoughts, or Angela, you ready for pick 3?
Yeah. So pick 3. I won't do it due to league requirements. I did have Pete's quarterback room number 1. I did have his running back room number 1. I had his wide receiver room number 1. But here I'm going to stand on business. I'm going to take my running back room that I have beneath Wallace's, but I'm going to take the opposite page. He's going humble. I'm going to stand on business. Take the Suns running back room.
I think it's a fine pick. I mean, we were just talking about it. I mean, it's really between, when we're talking about the top 3, it's really between 3 teams. So, I mean, it comes down to personal opinion. You said you had it below Wallace. I think it's right there. So good for you. Good for you, man. Bowen?
It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Pete's quarterbacks. Unfortunately, the value getting that at 1-4 just felt good. So I'm just gonna, we pretty much got through Pete's whole team, so get that out of the way, and we can really get to it now that he's through.
I hope you guys are happy.
Yeah,
You guys know exactly where this almost feels like a prank on everybody now.
Just
It's like
thank
you
God
guys
he's
were
not
talking
here.
pre-show.
Thank God he's not here. That's all. That's all I'll say.
If I could go back in time, I wouldn't take the first overall pick. I would have changed my whole formula because I felt like I had to go Pete at 1. But after that, I disagree.
I would have just skipped the first round. I would have just given up my first round pick.
Fuck that wheel, man. That really just ruined my mood. But whatever.
All right. I got the wraparound here. I've kind of been sitting on this strategy all day, so I think I'm gonna go for it. And I might get killed for this in the chat. I'm gonna take Wallace's bench running backs first. I'm gonna attack my bench first. Personally, I think that it's when you're looking at the bench units, it's so weak there. I'm just gonna take the team that it's like far above the rest on the bench. I'm gonna go with that. So I'm gonna take the bench there, and then hold on. Let me look. Who do I want to take? Okay, so we got it's really just Pizza that's gone, right?
Yeah.
This becomes tough. On that wraparound. Shit, I mean, I'm just gonna go Wallace's starting running backs. I'm just going to dominate this draft with the running backs. We were talking about the big 3. We already got 2 off the board. I can't let that slip any further. I'm going to take Wallace's running backs here. And now I'm just loaded at that position. I got 5 guys there. I don't think any of you guys are going to be able to touch that now. So good luck to the rest of you. Wallace, how do you feel? Because I just glazed like crazy right there.
I loved it. That clip's gonna be playing on a loop all evening after this. But no, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to have Pete's like top 3 over mine, to be totally honest. I think he gets bailed out by like that cutoff point, because I would take my 4-5 over him any day of the week. But anyways, I think it is fair that I'm pretty much 5 deep. You really could have made the argument like after, Henry and Brees Hall, like Pacheco, Cook, and Walker, they're all kind of in the same boat. So I'm cool with it. I love the glazing. I'll take it. So
Yeah, and that was kind of part of it when I was filling out this thing and kind of determining who's the starters, who's the bench, who makes the cut and everything. I was really like, who is it? So I just went by, I think, week 1 projections. I was like, because I feel like they're all in the season. They're probably projected about the same. So yeah, I just kind of gave the advantage to whoever. I mean, Brees was like the one lock up top. I mean, I like Pacheco a lot this year. They've talked about him trying to turn into a complete 3-down back. He really doesn't have any competition there. I mean, I do think that Piron can be a good pass catcher for them, but I mean, he just joined the team last week. And then besides him, who, he's old. We're talking about Clyde Frog, and then I don't even know who else they have
Carson
on that roster.
Steele.
Carson Steele. So, that's really it. So I do like Pacheco to as long as he can play 17, because I think he played 15 games last year, and that kind of cost him in the overall rankings. But yeah, on a per game basis, he was pretty damn good. So I like these running backs. But Bowen, we're going back to you. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Vibers tight ends. I think that is a huge positional advantage. They have by far the two, I think, best tight ends maybe in fantasy this year. Just redraft thinking. So I think having both those guys plug and play throughout my lineup all year would be pretty lethal. Playing both them every week. If I do end up short at a different spot, even though receivers are pretty loaded across the board for every team, and I think there's a lot of good running back rooms. I just think having those two stud tight ends when, if the 5th tight end group goes to whoever in this draft, it might be a little bit on the weaker end as opposed to, what I have there now or what I could have with the last receiver group. So lock me in for those tight ends.
I like the pick. I mean, yeah, I think it's really when you're talking about, especially with the 2 tight ends combined, I think it's, there's the Vibers, and then, there's me with Ingram and Kittle. And then besides that, I mean, definitely, especially with Dalton Schultz too. We'll see how it is with the more crowded
Yeah,
room
but
of
it's
you two,
different. Kelsey's different. And
yeah, but
McBride,
it's like really when we're talking about 2 like legit potential top 5 tight ends, guys that have the potential to do that. There's not really many of these rooms that have both. So yeah, I think grabbing it and having 2 guys like that's a good call right there. All right, Gelo.
All right, I'm just looking and updating my board here. I think it's tough. I think upside here, I take the 2 pins quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks. Lock in with Mahomes. I think Daniels is really going to have a huge season and just be able to create with his legs. So I think I like that for this season as a 1-2 punch.
I like it a lot. I mean, you get the stability with Mahomes, and there's just always going to be that. And then, yeah, like you said, I mean, if Jaden Daniels can really unlock it on the ground and be a serviceable passer, then yeah,
I mean,
I think you're getting a ton of upside.
Justin Fields fucking sucks in real life, but he was always great in fantasy. I think Jaden Daniels is a lot different of a player, but just fantasy wise, Jaden Daniels should be a stud in fantasy. So yeah, makes sense.
I will say shout out. I don't know. I don't. Well,
yeah,
I can't take another starting quarterback, right? So it doesn't matter. So I would say shout out to the shits though. Lamar and Herbert is very enticing as well, but I got to go with 2 pins there.
I feel it. Amaral.
Let's see. A lot of good receivers still on the board, but I think the best group of 3 left is the Suns. I'm really high on all of them this year, redraft. So give me the Suns receivers.
Just want to chime in and say that that's some utter woke nonsense real quick. I'm hurt. I'm sick to my stomach. I can't believe my receivers are all the way on the board here. I don't know if you are familiar with the little pint-sized guy, Tyreek Hill, that's still on the board, but whatever. To each their own.
You should just
Oh
go
shit!
ahead.
You know,
And,
I was about to
I'm
say
not-
plug
I'm
it
not gonna
yourself,
say-
but you can't. You were too busy.
I can't. I'm pissed. That's why I'm pissed. It's
I don't wanna
nonsense,
say
dude.
anything.
Sitting here with my hands tied. I got to pass on my own receivers. Ugh.
Just a piece.
Angela, how do you feel? You just had your this is the second time that your players have been taken off the board, but the first time was by you. How does it feel to have your own players selected? I haven't experienced it yet, so how does that feel to be said that you have the a great group of receivers like that? What, the second group off the board?
Yeah, no, that feels great. That supersedes my expectation. I think it shows that last year receiver was the absolute worst position I had, and now going into this year, it's to be taking 2 off the board. It's nice.
Wallace, you ready for the wraparound?
Yeah, I'm ready. I think the move here, I think running back is the next most important position that I haven't already addressed. So since my guys are off the board, they were my second unit there, first or second unit, depending on how you look at it. I got to go with the Suns and grab the. Oh, never mind. They're already off the board. I'm a moron. So on that note, since I have back-to-back picks, I'm actually going to go and take the commission's approach here, letting my eyes wander to the bench units, and I'm going to go with the receivers off the bench for the strokers. Diggs and JSN are coming with me. And then
Here we go.
let me take a look at the running back room here and see what the next best move is. Oh, I guess I have to go with the running back room of Big Brain in that case. If me, Pete, and the Suns are all off the board, I think that's the next best value.
I like the pick. I mean, you're just getting McCaffrey there, and then DeAndre Swift. We'll see how he is now that he's away from that Eagles offensive line. I mean, it could be better for him touchdown wise because we saw how many times he was inexplicably tackled at the one, and then how many times he didn't get to follow that up with a carry at the goal line because they were just doing the tush push. So, maybe that can result in more touchdowns for him. Maybe that was his best way to even get those opportunities, and he never cashed in on them. But I mean, we'll see. And then James Conner, I'm a big fan of. Everybody, he's a guy that for the last couple of years he's just been written off because he's an aging running back and he's approaching 30 and all that. But I mean, and yeah, he has the injury concern, but when he's on the field, he is an absolute workhorse and he's a beast. And he's sick, as a receiving option as well. He can do it all. So yeah, I mean, I think adding those two guys on top of, in a vacuum, I'd say the best player in fantasy, probably Christian McCaffrey, right? I think it's a good pick. Good way to put the roster together.
I think Swift and Connor are like the two mid-round running backs in redraft I like the most. I think they're ahead of their class. They're guys I'm targeting in all my home leagues and stuff like that. So, and then obviously you pair that with the 101. It feels like there's probably a tier break for the next group of running backs after that. And so we'll be interested to see who the next group is selected.
All right, Amaral, back to you.
I think I need some stability at quarterback, so I'll take Zitz quarterbacks. I'll take Joshy and Geno. Geno's I would say he's probably my top sleeper quarterback this year. I think he's gonna do numbers in that Ryan Grubb offense.
I agree. I mean, even the step that he took back last year was not as bad as it looked on paper. Like you look at it and you say, oh, he was QB5 2 years ago and he was QB 18 last year or whatever the hell he was. But it really wasn't that bad. And I think that not only is he, going to be some source of stability at the position in Seattle for at least this year. And I think, maybe another year or two beyond that. But yeah, they're just going to be throwing it way more this year. We saw what's his name? Grubbs. He's the guy from Washington, right? We saw what they did in that offense. It seems like a perfect hire for them where it's like, hey, we have 3 really good receivers. Let's go get the guy that was just coaching 3 really good receivers. and get that. And then they've like made an emphasis on wanting to run like a ton of plays last year. I think they ran something like they were down at the bottom of the league in plays run last year as a team. So now they're going to run it way more fast paced. They're going to throw it more. They're not going to be as married to just pounding the rock. So I think it's going to be good for all those receivers, and as a result, it's going to be good for Geno. So yeah, I do like it. I mean, yeah, like you said, you go after, you get Josh Allen, who's going to be the top quarterback. No matter what, pretty much he's going to be in that top 3 range. And yeah, getting a guy that you said is a good sleeper, I like that pick. Bowen, how's that feel? You made the big move for Allen.
I actually I was looking at the remaining QB rooms, and I thought I was going to be the odd man out. So pleasantly surprised. I just there's a lot of loaded rooms left, so didn't know how it was going to go. Knew it would be close, but respect to Geno. Josh Allen's Josh Allen, so I get it. But yeah, respect to Geno.
Angelo, you ready?
Yes, sir. I think with this pick, I got to go with the Wallace wide receiver room.
Mm.
And again, in form here, I'm going to give my flowers to the Strokers wide receiver room.
Getting Tyreek Hill in the middle of the 3rd round, even big brain like Christian McCaffrey in the 3rd round. That's both those guys going in the 3rd round is pretty crazy. Great value.
Yeah, the Tyreek Waddle stack is ridiculous. And
Yep.
even if Collins is going to regress, which he is, I still think it's going to be 1,000 yards. It's not going to be the 1,400, 1,500 kind of was last year, but those guys right now on a roster, yeah, I'll take that.
Great pick. No notes.
Yeah.
I like it.
The kid is humble. He is humble.
Nothing if not humble. Glad you picked up on that.
But
All right, Bowen, what do you got?
I'm going Zitz receivers.
Zitz receivers. All right.
Yep. Yep. That's all I got. No notes as well. I really like them.
You don't want to flex your receiver room real quick? How you feeling about it?
Amon-Ra is just the babyest boy. That's really, Ayuk is Ayuk. Worthy, I love. So, I know Worthy's definitely is the wild card, and I might be reaching a little bit, looking around some of the remaining rooms, but had to flex the ego a little bit there, and get my receivers.
I like it. I mean, I just love what Worthy could be.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it right now. I almost don't want his season to start because I like thinking about what he can do. And I don't want to, potentially by playing a game, there's even like just a non-zero chance that I'm wrong. And I don't even like that. I just want to picture it in my head. I want to picture him just breaking loose. I know that you like him to have the longest touchdown tomorrow or longest catch. I mean, I was looking, I don't remember actually. I don't remember what his longest reception was listed at, but I don't think it's that long. I think it's like low 20s or something.
Yeah.
So, that is pretty interesting. It's something to think about. But all right, I'll move on to me on the wraparound here. I like how this is played out right here. I was kind of holding my breath, hoping that I could get this to fall my way, and it did. I'm going to take the Suns quarterback room. I'm going to take Dak Prescott, Jared Goff. One thing I really like here is I actually like Goff the most out of the 2 right now. I just love that stat that they're playing 14 of their 17 games inside this year. I had the stat pulled a couple weeks ago about how he performs when he's playing inside versus outside. I don't care how poorly he plays when he's outside right now. When he's playing 14 of those games inside at home for 8 of them, I love it. I mean, he's going to be throwing for like 270 yards in those games. I'll take the downside. If he has to go play outside and throw for 190 yards and 1 touchdown, that's whatever. I'll deal with that week because I know that I have 90% of my weeks are going to be on that upside. So I'm going to take those 2 right there. And then let's see, who do I want on that wraparound? I mean, I got to go receiver here. I think I do. No, I'm going to go with my tight ends. I'm going to take Evan Ingram and George Kittle. I like how deep it is at wide receiver right now. I think I can wait on it. We were talking about it when Bowen took the Vibers tight ends. Having those two right there, I like how that looks on the graphic. I think it gives me a little bit of a positional advantage. So I'm going to take that second group of guys there, and I'm gonna plug in those tight ends. I'm going to wait on wide receiver.
Not to be a smartass, I think that was the right move because we literally can't take any more wide receivers. So that was
I was just
definitely
as I was
as
I was finishing that sentence, I was thinking, I was like, and they actually might not be able to take them. Yeah. I was trying to do that
starting
calculation
wide
in my
receivers
head.
anyway. Yeah.
Well, look at me. Fell ass backwards into that perfect strategy. Holy shit. All right, Bowen, you're back up.
That actually just Wallace, thank you for bringing that up. I was gonna go running backs here, but I don't need to.
I just realized how nice you can actually see it on the ground.
Yeah, it is. It's dummy proof. So I'm gonna hold. Just give me 2 seconds here, because now I'm leaking into bench, right?
Yeah, you're looking at tight end, and then if you're just gonna wait on,
I already got
yeah,
tight
I
end,
was
though.
looking at, yeah,
That's what the analytics
only
are
doing
saying.
bench now.
Yeah.
Give me the Suns bench receivers.
Would you say Suns bench receivers?
Yep. B. Thomas and Keenan.
All right, all right. I didn't put in my hold on, I'm lost. Who did I take first? I took the Suns. Okay. There we go. We're good now. All right, all right. Angelo, you're up.
What do you need? Tight end.
Yeah, you need your tight end and then your bench.
Yeah.
Nothing on the bench.
Kind of regret going third here. Just watching two good things go by me, both directions. You know what? I'm just gonna finish it out. I'm gonna take the Daltons and go with the Zits tight end.
Wow, didn't even notice that. What a stack.
I actually didn't
it's a
notice
strong
that
choice.
until or at least visually notice it until I saw it on this sheet. I knew both their names were Dolan, but it didn't click in my brain until I actually saw it.
Throw Schultz in the flax, Put that Dalton stack in there. See how it treats it,
Bro. Dolan Schultz is gonna low key be on Gelo's by like week 3, but I mean that's neither here nor there.
Gelo doesn't want to help himself and get a tight end, but we don't need to be airing out dirty laundry on this show that millions will watch.
You're right.
No, he's not here to defend himself. We won't do that.
Suns are having a good night. Team's getting drafted. No need.
Right, it's my second draft of the night. Come on.
All right. We'll keep it moving. Amaral, what do you got?
Upside at tight end is hard to come by. So I'm gonna go with who the fuck is that? Whose tight ends are those? Was that Mikey?
Well, Winsper?
Yeah.
Co-owner. Mikey's the owner too. He's
a co-owner.
Gotcha. Yeah, but like I said, it's tough to upside's hard to come by at tight end. So I like the Pitts and Joku stack there.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Laporta, baby boy.
That is baby boy for sure, but just overall upside.
I get it.
I mean, I think Laporta will finish as tight end 1 this year.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't shock me if both Pitts and Njoku are top 6 or top 7 tight ends.
Yeah. You're a Pitts believer?
To an extent.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
I am. Yeah, I think you have to be cautious with him, right? Because we've just seen the last couple of years. But I feel like we're getting to the point now where people are just like they've completely erased from their mind that Kyle Pitts was the second rookie tight end ever behind who was it? Ditka?
Ditka, yeah.
To have 1,000 yards as a rookie. Like people are like, oh, every year I draft him so high and he does nothing. It's like he had 1,000 yards as a rookie tight end. That is so crazy to act like he's never done anything in his career. And then his second year he got hurt, and then last year, okay, like we're always blaming the coach, and then we're like, oh, but he's no good. He's no good. Give him a chance. Let's give him a fair chance. If he can't do it this year, it's over. Let's give him a chance.
Yeah, the real morons were the ones that drafted him last year when like nothing changed with his situation, like
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
why
And they're
is
like,
he gonna get better? All he's doing is recovering from a knee injury. Why are we expecting things to change here?
every year but last year, you could have made like the real pitch. So I guess you can be back in. That's a good pick there.
And I just like I like what the system that's coming over with those Rams guys, especially because he is that second wide receiver next to Drake London, with how he's going to play. And we just saw how the Rams operate with two like good and two physical receivers, guys that are kind of playing up in their size at their position. When you stick Cup in the slot and he's kind of playing up from that, it's like we see how they operate with those guys. So I like the way that he works there. And then, also it's like Kirk Cousins, last year at least he targeted tight ends at the 5th highest rate. So it's like, how can you not like that? So yeah, let's give the guy a chance. I like the pick. I like it. All right, Wallace, you got the wrap around here.
All right. Well, I don't really need to take tight end or quarterback, but obviously going to have to take one of those two positions. So actually, no, I don't. Could you mind scrolling down the board a little bit here? Yeah, I guess I could take bench quarterback and bench running back.
Quarterback, tight end, and then bench QB.
I got to give the commish some flowers for reaching for my bench running backs pretty early because this shit is some hot ass I'm looking at here on the bench running backs.
The new meta.
Yeah, I think the best option has to be the commish's backup running backs. I think we're going to go with the Strokers backup running backs.
Yep.
Just feels like Brooks is going to be an asset toward the end of the season. I actually had that pick for those that don't remember and flipped them for James Cook right before, like during the draft, which I still feel really good about. I think Brooks will be solid the back half of the year, and I'm of the believer that Gus Edwards is going to be the lead guy for the Chargers. I'm not buying any of that Dobbins shit. I don't care how much modern medicine is advanced. The man has no like Achilles or anything like that. So I'm saying Gus Edwards is going to be the lead guy, and I'll have like a decent couple options there.
That's the thing too. What was Dobbins? What was his last injury? Was it the Achilles?
I think the last one was the Achilles.
He has like both Achilles, his fucking knees. Like he's completely toast.
Yeah, it's like I've been saying too. And, I'm a karma guy. I don't like laughing in the face of an injury or anything. So I like to play it safe on that end. But I was like, why is everybody running victory laps because Cam Akers is like activated from his Achilles injury? It's like then he comes back and he averaged like 2 yards a carry, and people, but he had 50 yards, and people were like, see. Everybody said this was a career ender, but he's in same thing with James Robinson. Everybody was running victory laps with James Robinson, and then he gets cut like 6 weeks later. So it's like we keep acting like that the Achilles is like the new torn ACL, and people just come back better than ever. We haven't actually seen somebody come back and be that besides like Kevin Durant, but that's it. So it's like
Also,
why are we so sure that J.K. Dobbins, who has like literally never put together like any sort of body of work in the pros, is like suddenly going to figure it out, over here. I'm not seeing that.
I would hate to be accused of being a pocket watcher, but I'm pretty sure his salary is in like the 5-figure range. So if you follow the money in Los Angeles, I don't know if they really are that confident that Dobbins is going to be the guy. So I'm going to put my chips on Gus Edwards. Sending it back to me. I guess it makes the most sense to take backup quarterback. I have my pick of the litter here. So I'm forced to look at a bunch of dudes that have not crossed my mind for redraft. But I think the obvious choice, if we are just looking at this season, has to be, what is that? The Vibers? No, well, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers and the Vibers. I think that's a good option for this year, assuming he plays more than 5 snaps. And I got that little stack with Garrett Wilson. So that makes me feel a little bit better about getting first pick at backup quarterback since not the last choice of the starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, I like the pick. I mean, when you're kind of scanning that backup quarterback row, it's really there's Rodgers, the reliable vet, and then I guess I was thinking maybe you'd go with like Bo Nix or Bryce Young, but yeah, I mean I like the pick there too, where it's just like you kind of, even though we don't really know what he is coming back, what you're getting there, the opportunity that he has. With Bryce Young, you'd be banking on a bounce back. With Bo Nix, you haven't really seen him take actual pro game snaps outside of the preseason. So yeah, I do think it's kind of, well, there is one more that I'm seeing on the list, but that's it. I mean, there's 2 veterans on that list for the backup quarterback. So yeah, I like that pick. Amaral?
Shit. Give me the Vibers backup receivers.
Good pick. Good pick.
That is a good pick.
Cortland Sutton's going to be a target hog this year. And
Christian Watson could score 10 touchdowns at any given
Yeah.
year too. I feel
he's like he's like the fucking modern I guess not modern, he only played 5 years ago, Will Fuller. He's just there's
Yeah.
stupid touchdown upside, but he might not be that great at football, but he'll score 10 touchdowns and have 35 receptions. It's what the fuck?
Yeah, then he just takes over one game, and you're like, oh, he's actually the best football player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then he just never is seen again. And
So just generally speaking, I think just taking a shot on one of those four Packer receivers is probably good business because Jordan Love's bound to produce.
yeah, and I mean, he's also he is the second starter for that team. I think it's he just needs to actually stay healthy, and when he does that, he's going to be on the
Yeah.
field, and he's gonna, he's I don't think he's ever going to be a target hog, but he's going to be the guy that gets those downfield targets. And that was the one thing that I really liked last year was that every time I watched the Packers, you could see Jordan Love scanning downfield, he's always at least taking a look and seeing if that option's there. So if he sees it, he's going to uncork it, and hopefully Watson's the guy at the end of those targets, for your sake in this. But yeah, I mean, I do like all of those receivers, even the guys like Bo Melton and Malik Heath. There's wide receiver 5 and 6 on that team. They are just so stacked top to bottom on that depth chart. It's crazy.
Yeah, quickly too. I think you're right that when they're in two receiver sets, it looks like it's going to be Dobbs and Watson, and
Yeah.
Jaden Reeds will play in 11 personnel. So who knows? It's a fucking deep room though.
Right? It's insane. Yeah, even when I was just saying that whole thing and talking about the end of the guys, I was totally forgetting about Jaden Reed. It's insane. He was the most prolific guy they had in that room last year.
Yeah.
All right, Angelo, let's see. What do you need? You need your bench.
Yeah. I'm hoping I make this pick and then I still have this other option coming back. I'm gonna stand on business for a second time. I'm gonna take the Suns backup running back room. Just for this season when I'm looking at it, I think the two best options with the Strokers and Wallace's team are off the board. The way I'm looking at points for this season, Jaleel, Charbonnet, no, they're spotty. They'll get some points, but they're not as consistent. As consistently going to be touching the ball. Chubb and
Those are
Eckler,
legit backups too.
yeah, Chubb and Eckler is probably the next best route to go, but
I mean, Chubb's on the pup list too, and I mean, it was a horrific injury. Even if he's recovering like Superman, apparently, it's we watched his leg go like this, it was disgusting. So it's a lot to make.
I also
I
think
mean,
people are taking the cheese on him squatting 500 pounds. It's what the fuck does that have to do with him cutting on a football field?
was that?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing too. It's when
it
guys are coming back from a torn ACL, and it's watch him run this 40-yard dash. He's fast as ever. It's he could run that straight line with the torn ACL. It wasn't, any different.
Yeah, but the bar wiggled and it had chains. So it gets heavier the higher up you go. I don't know if you noticed that.
I love those. I love those bars that do that. This shit always cracks me up.
Earthquake bar? Fuck yeah, dude.
They have the insane weight on it. It's so funny.
Now here he is bearing no weight in another grown man's helmet going into his kneecap, and it's all out the window. It's
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing with Bo Jackson. It was he just got hit at a weird angle, and all of a sudden his hip was all fucked up, and he was never the same again. That's all it takes. But yeah, I mean, any more parting thoughts on your? I mean, I think it's a fair pick, especially when you're looking at. We've been talking about how thin these backup running back rooms are. Yeah, I mean, I think that really is the only other room that could kind of compete with yours at this point, and even Eckler is the healthy one, and are we really banking on him to be anything more than a receiving back there? I do think that Brian Robinson is going to be the guy that's leading in carries and doing all that. So we'll see how they split up the goal line work, but that's really his only bet to be fantasy relevant. Eckler is if he can steal those touchdown looks away. So yeah, I like the pick.
I'd say the Ravens had 77 red zone carries as a team last year with running backs. That's not including Lamar. So, Henry had like what 34 or 37 with Tennessee. So him, Hill, they're all gonna get a chance.
Maybe, Henry gets real tired, but I can't really see that happening. But.
That's a ton of touches. I mean, they diversify, but
And
yes,
I mean, yeah, and they've been talking about Justice Hill
And-
too. I mean, and who knows? Like, it could just be a Harbaugh thing. Like, just hype the hell out of your guys. They've been doing it with Rashad Bateman all offseason as well. But
I mean,
yeah, I mean, they're talking about, oh yeah, he's a Justice Hill. He can be a starting running back and all that. So we'll see how they use him. So
Hey, good thing he's behind known poor stamina guy Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Just out of shape Derrick. That's what they call
What?
him.
His
They had-
one flaw.
their running back room had 26 touchdowns last season, and what Gus Edwards had 16 of those, 13 on
True.
them, something like that. So I mean, again, that's just a team that they're going to get in the end.
What was it, Angela? Weren't we looking it up the other day? Gus Edwards' longest touchdown last year was like 7 yards.
Yeah, he just bunched with the goal line.
All right, Bowen, what do you got?
Can you scroll? Oh, I actually did scroll down.
Yeah, because what do you need? You need your running backs, and then you need bench QB, bench running back.
I mean, the bench running backs in my mind, it's between how many teams need bench running backs left? KB, can you? Two. I mean, I don't really feel strongly about either team that I would draft. So give me Drake May just as a little flyer here. If he comes in mid-season and he's a fucking stud, and Anthony Richardson fucking blows his leg up like he probably will, I may need a guy who has some high end potential to actually make a run. In the playoffs if it got there. So yeah, give me Drake May.
Yeah, I mean, I like the pick. I like going after the young guy, especially like you said, he's going to be your QB too, so you don't even need him to start right away. So if you can come in, provide a spark for the Pats, that could give you guys some momentum too. All of a sudden, that could give you a legit, third quarterback that you could be mixing into the rotation. So we'll see. I mean, because it really, I mean, obviously he's a bench quarterback because Simcoe has Lamar and Justin Herbert, but Drake May, depending, if he can project out to be what we think, I mean that could be starting quarterback for a lot of teams in this league. So
yeah,
I like that pick there. I like it. All right. Where to me? I like how this is playing out right here too. I'm liking this fifth spot a lot. Everybody else has been complaining. I wish I didn't take this spot. I wish I didn't take this.
Wait, so these are your
It's
last
falling
two,
right
these are
into
your
my
last
hands.
last two picks, or you have one more on the way out? You got one more on the
Oh,
way out.
I'm the one that gets screwed. Wow, that's crazy. Actually, we were just talking
Yeah,
about that. I couldn't even plan away from that. I'm taking Stafford. I'm taking Pete's backup quarterback. I think that he's, and when we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, I think he's right in that same camp where that's a guy that can be a top 10 quarterback this year. When we're looking at these bench guys, I think all that's left is Bryce Young and Bo Nix. I'm going to take Stafford in that case, especially if we're talking from a redraft standpoint. I mean, like I said, I think he's a guy that could be top 10 right there, and then you just aren't getting that type of value anywhere else on this bench. So that's my guy right there. And then let's see. I mean, I guess I might as well just wait. I might as well just wait on those. Well, I got to go receiver. So I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Pete's bench receivers because I'm going to take
right pick.
Chark's useless to me. Chark is absolutely useless, but DK, that's a guy that we're not seeing on this bench, compared to, the units that are left. So I got to go with DK here and just bite the bullet on Chark. But yeah, I'm going to go with Pete's bench wide receivers.
I don't know if it would change the equation at all if you subbed out Ricky Pearsall on my bench for Michael Wilson, a guy I know the commish likes. You did put the guy that just took a bullet. Instead, can't help but feel like that was not the best decision for the sake of Ridley and pairing him up with a nice wide receiver too. But hey, just let's just glaze Pete some more. I get it. Whatever. Another Pete pick. We didn't have enough of him.
Pete,
dude, I was shopping in that neighborhood like 5 years ago. That easily could have been me getting shot. That's what's great.
The league wouldn't have been the same, man. Leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. It's like a sliding doors moment right there. But all right, Bowen, who do you got coming around here?
I'm gonna go bench running backs, and I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Javonte Williams and Ty Chandler. Kind of on the same thought there about the DJ Chark. Pretty useless Ty Chandler. I don't even know what team he is currently playing for. Doesn't really matter. I like Javonte enough as of kind of a flyer RB this year. Just in a general sense, I know that running back room is pretty murky. But Sean Payton running backs usually fare pretty well fantasy wise. And if Javonte ends up being that running back for them, great guy off the bench.
I like the pick. I'm going to give you credit on the Ty Chandler one too. I believe he is the RB2 in Minnesota right now, so he's
Correct.
right
Yeah.
behind Aaron
It
Jones.
clearly is. Yeah.
Yeah, Chandler
Perfect.
did play well, when he got some action last year. I mean, I
Even
know
better.
he's pretty efficient with his touches, so it's another year in that Kevin O'Connell system. And I mean, it's not like Aaron Jones has been the most reliable guy with his health. So, Chandler could be seeing a few starts. And I mean, Bowen, I mean, I love Javonte Williams this year. I do think that,
Yeah.
all the reports are that he's looking so much better than he was when he was recovering from the torn ACL last year. Because it wasn't just the ACL. I think it was like the ACL, MCL, PCL, all that shit. So, you usually do need more than a year to, fully recover from that. So, I mean, if you can come back and just be prepared to take on the workhorse role that we, typically see a Sean Payton running back get, and, be able to work as a receiver as well. I think that's a really good pick. I actually just totally missed him on this backup running back board. I mean, obviously I, handled mine early, but yeah, I mean, I just totally forgot he was even there when I was looking at who was left. So that's a really good pick. That was totally under the radar for me.
I was between your backup running room commission and those guys as well. So that was a really good pick. I can't believe they fell as far as they did.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally missed it. Angelo, you need a backup quarterback and backup receiver.
Yeah. Backup receiver right here. Upside, upside, upside. Both these guys. Zits with Romeo Dobbs and Jameson Williams. Those are just two home runs waiting to happen at any given moment. I think Williams could emerge as a true wide receiver too this year. Obviously, I want to see Amaral play every snap, but if he was ever going to get hurt or sit out a couple plays, like Jameson Williams is that big threat outside of Laporta, of course. Laporta is the true number 2 there in terms of target share, and then Gibbs with 3. But I think Williams would be the true wide receiver too in that offense this year.
I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Jameson Williams. I always like guys to make that type of comeback and everything. And then when you're reading about it, it sounds like all the things that are being said about him inside the Lions building, it's like all the right things. It's like he's got the right attitude. He's got he plays the way that we want to play. He brings that toughness. He blocks. He even has good highlights of him getting downfield blocks for running backs and stuff like that. So it seems like he does all the right things. And then, I don't even think he needs anything to happen to St. Brown. I think that they're so thin at receiver there. I think they brought somebody in, but I remember going into game 1 of the preseason, the guy that was competing to be the wide receiver 3 on their depth chart was Demoris Fountain or some shit like that. It was some guy I'd never heard of in my life. So they have 0 wide receiver depth. So I like him to just be, getting a lot of targets by default. And I think that he's earned them and he's a really good downfield threat. So if him and Goff can find the chemistry to connect on those plays, I mean, that's a team that runs the ball hard. They make the right throws underneath. There's going to be a few plays a game where he breaks loose downfield and there's a chance for Goff to hit him. So I think there's going to be a constant touchdown threat. So I like it a lot. I mean, I love Dobbs. Dobbs could easily be the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. Jordan Love loves him. He says everything great about him. He put him on his dream lineup if you had to get a 4th down at the end of the Super Bowl or some shit like that. So yeah, I'm going to take the guy that one of the best young quarterbacks in the league really, really seems to like. I like that Romeo Dobbs pick. All right. Amaral, what do you got?
He has a chance to do something really diabolical here, and I'm just not going to say what it is, but I hope he doesn't do it. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I don't know where you're going with that, but
Right, because it's backup quarterback, backup running back.
Yeah, you'll see when I draw attention to it. When I draw attention to
How
it,
evil.
yeah, you'll see.
So I'm just my number 1 option here would be backup running backs, and I'm looking at Pete, but I'm not giving Pete any more love here. So, who we got? Mikey. What do we call him? Winsper? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, that's who he owns. Winsper owns the team. He's like the Whit Grousbeck, and then Mikey's more of like the Brad Stevens. So yeah,
Okay.
it's
Junkyard
Winsper's
Dog.
team that Mikey's kind of the face of.
So who's the majority owner then? This guy, Winsper's father?
I think it's
He's like Wick with
51-49.
just like a 2% stake or something.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take McLaughlin and Charbonnet. I think McLaughlin's going to play a role in Denver this year, and
Oh, I
then
kind of forgot that. Yeah.
Charbonnet's a RB1 if anything happens to Ken Walker.
I was just gonna say if you took Pete's backup running back room, we basically would have drafted the guy's whole team, and I wasn't gonna
that's
stand
true.
for it. So I just wanted to make sure that didn't happen. That's all. Just wanted to put that in the universe before. So I'm glad you saw it
Yep,
through.
and that was the last team to need a backup running back, so it can't happen.
Exactly. Well, I guess we're not taking his tight ends because I'm going to go in a different direction here. I think so. I have to address my starting quarterbacks and starting tight ends here. So I guess I'm just going to kind of chase the upside of Amaral's tight end room. Just taking Laporta. I'm not, the biggest Tucker Craft guy, but I'd rather roll the dice and hope that Laporta doesn't get hurt because he's arguably the tight end 1 or tight end 2 in redraft, depending on how you look at him and Kelsey. And then at the quarterback spot, I just feel like I have a giant Jimmy Neutron brain for waiting at quarterback because there were just like 5 really awesome quarterback rooms, and I think that like after Pete's team, I think the next 4 are probably all the same, to be honest with you. So I'll take the shits quarterbacks in Lamar and Justin Herbert and feel pretty good about that.
So Wallace, your quarterbacks went undrafted.
They did.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I thought they were going to be like one of the first 3 pairs.
I think when you're looking at it through the lens of redraft, though, I get it. And to be totally honest, I think they wouldn't have even been my next pick. I probably would have gone to the Go Tigers quarterback room just because I'm pretty high on
the
Caleb
Vibers
Williams.
have good quarterbacks too. Brock and Kirk is like a good fantasy. Both those guys can put up fucking numbers in those offenses. So
yeah.
The thing too with Wallace, like what you're saying about how you can see it with from a redraft standpoint, is that when we're talking like that's where I think the rushing upside comes into play, right?
Exactly.
Because when we're talking about the pocket passing quarterbacks, I mean, how many years was Tom Brady like the QB 10 in fantasy, right? He was never like a true fantasy stud unless he was throwing for 45, 50 touchdowns or anything like that. And it's like, okay, like 250 to 300 yards can only get you so far. It's like, and even if you're throwing 2 touchdowns that game, it's just not going to get you as much as like 40 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, especially in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. So, yeah, I mean, I think chasing that rushing upside with Lamar, I think it's so worth it. So, yeah, I like that logic there.
Yeah, I think if it was Dynasty, then having Stroud and Lawrence that are going to finish anywhere between like 5 and 15 every week and just do that for the next decade. Like in Dynasty, I'm very high in the room, but I wouldn't even cross my mind to draft him in this setting.
All right. Amaral, last pick. Gonna go quarterback.
Muted like a fucking moron. Shout what I said was shout out to KOC. I'm going Sam Darnold.
Ooh,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Darnold on this graphic, that play, that really plays.
There's like sneaky like rushing upside with Darnold too. Like when he's been like thrown in there, even when he was with the Jets when they were a complete fucking dumpster fire, and he was like starting towards the end of whatever year that was, 2020 or something. He's like putting up decent like streamer numbers.
So. Yeah, in California or in Carolina, yeah, he was like, there was that one year, I guess was his first year as the starter, because there were 2 years where he at least started games and then he got replaced by Baker, but he was like putting up like 20, 25 points in games. He was running. Wasn't he got a concussion, but he had like 4 rushing touchdowns in like the first month and a half. So yeah, there really is that sneaky upside. And it's like, listen, I know he's the seeing ghost guy. He got mono, all that stuff. But I really do think that this is a chance for him to have. We just saw it with Geno Smith. We just saw it with Baker Mayfield. And I know those guys are both tied to Canales. But, Kevin O'Connell, he's a really good quarterback coach. He's a good offensive mind. Darnold just spent a year in that Shanahan Niners system. I do think that there is a chance that he actually has just completely rehabbed his image, rehabbed his game. And I think that he can come in And, not that it's, a good thing, but for him, I think McCarthy being hurt and being out and not having that first round rookie breathing down your neck the entire season is going to be good for him to be able to play free and do what he wants and, try and go out and earn a contract for next year and be a starter for another team, or at least go into it competing for the starting job. So I do like Darnold a lot this year. I do think that people are, underrating Justin Jefferson this year because, Darnold's throwing. Justin Jefferson was putting up, he was on a 2,000-yard pace in 4 games with Nick Mullins at quarterback. So it's like, the bad quarterbacks, they throw to their number one receiver. They hyper target that guy. But I think that Darnold can actually spread it around. I think when Hawkinson eventually comes back, they can really make that offense work. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team. I think they can be competing for a playoff spot. And I think Darnold's very underrated, but I like him as that bench QB pick. I do. I mean, that's a starting quarterback for this whole year. So from a redraft standpoint, it's great. It's great. All right, Gelo, you need a backup quarterback now.
Yeah, I'm thinking from a redraft perspective, just like who's going to be locked in, who is QB1 for this season. I go with Bryce Young here. Because right, Stafford's off the board. Yeah. So Bryce Young. I do like Sam Howell a lot, but the whole Howell lock, I don't want to. Give me Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the only other one that
Bo Nix.
is
No.
Nix. And then,
But
one that I was thinking was like, if there were more
like-
rounds here, I do think that Justin Fields could have been an interesting pick. I mean, just
If he
in
starts.
the case that he does somehow take over, I mean, we know what you can do and be even as a completely shit quarterback. So I do think that could have been an interesting pick, but I do think it's strange. They seem bought into Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. He's a captain. He didn't seem to do anything exciting this offseason, but he just won the job pretty easily. So yeah, I guess there is always that risk there. But yeah, I mean, Bryce Young and then Bo Nix are the only 2 guys that are going to be starting week 1. So your options were pretty limited. You might as well go with the guy that was.
I'm looking at it as like
Okay.
it's week 8. I need to go to my bench quarterback who has their job still at this point. It's probably going to be Bryce Young out of those guys.
Yeah, and Bryce Young's locked into that too. And then, also, I mean, we just saw it, right? I just mentioned Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. Those are 2 guys on 2 different teams, and the one constant there is Dave Canales. So, he might just be the QB wizard. And also, Bryce Young just has a significantly better situation than he had last year. He had a terrible coach, terrible front office. They had a terrible draft. He was acquired in one of the worst trades ever. And it was just like the vibes were so bad all around. But now he's got, they worked on improving the line. They're working on improving that run game. They brought in more weapons for him. So, he has a really good opportunity to succeed here. Who knows what his actual ceiling is, but I feel like it's almost impossible for him to not be better than last year. So, yeah, I like Bryce Young this year. I like. Bowen, who are you taking at running back?
Give me McMorrow. No, not McMorrow. Give me the Zitch.
The hand off the chess piece there.
Give me the give me the Zits. Think they're a pretty stout unit. Up there. So love the value, obviously, last round. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. I mean, really, not much to say there. I mean, you kind of had your choice of whatever was left, and I mean, I think Saquon's going to be awesome. I think he's going to be awesome in Philly.
I think I'm highest on Josh Jacobs. I just don't know how he doesn't, especially with Dylan out for the year. Like
Dylan
Marshawn
out.
Marshawn Lloyd's a fine
Lloyd
player.
missed so much at camp. Yeah.
I don't have anything against Marshawn Lloyd. I really can't say I've watched much of him, but like I know Josh Jacobs. I know he's a fucking horse who can handle a lot of carries if need be. So yeah, it's a good RB room.
All right. This is tough. Okay, so I mean, obviously I have to go receiver here. Let me think. Wait, hold on. Who hasn't been taken? Okay, so there's. See, I think there's 3 teams on the board. I could easily go myself. There's one room that has a guy that seems like he's a top 5 lock almost. There's a second. I mean, there's a second
Couple
room
rooms.
that's really interesting there.
There's like 3 like top 10 receivers that I'm looking at right now. 4 maybe if you're.
I got you and the Vibers on my big board here.
Yeah, I was between obviously myself. There's the Vibers, and then I mean, Winsper's team has Justin Jefferson as well.
Bro, Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, can't forget about 2 pins there too.
But I know that's what makes it so crazy. The thing is that I think
Easy
I'm gonna
Amaral,
stick
too.
to my own roots. I think I'm gonna take my room because I mean, maybe I don't have that guy in that room right now. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how things shake out this year. But I feel like if we're looking at the full three, I mean, Moore, London, and Pittman, I like all those guys to be in the top 15. I don't know if T. Higgins is going to be there. I don't know if Zay Flowers. I don't know if Deontay Johnson's going to be there. I don't know if Jaden Reed's going to be there. So I'm going to take the three, what I feel are the three strongest pound for pound. I'm going to go with my own wide receiver room there and close it out just like that.
On a depth chart of their team, they are the wide receiver one, unanimously.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
go with.
I think.
All
I
right.
mean, I know it's silly to say because like it's only, I mean, X amount of players, but I think every team is loaded like up and down. I like all of our drafts. Just looking at it quick, I really do like every single,
Oh yeah, you mean like all five of our teams?
like the people that we just drafted. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because I was gonna say
every
even
team is
just
fucking
like
sick.
just filling this out and like looking at the board, it's like shit, I mean, we're coming off of a year where it was really so uncompetitive top to bottom, where we had 7 teams that had a chance at the playoffs. And when you're looking at it this year, you're like, shit, I mean, this team's actually pretty good. Or like, yeah, these guys actually are pretty good receivers. Like, oh shit, all that. Like Angelo was saying, looking at his team, he thought that he had like far and away the best running backs. And then he's looking, he's like, shit, maybe I don't. And yeah, I think that this year is going to be really competitive. I think that we're going to have, like 10. I mean, who knows? I mean, Amaral, I feel kind of awkward. You're in the room here, but I think we're gonna have a lot of competitive teams here. And I mean, but we even saw Amaral's team be, a spoiler and be frisky last year. So I think that this is gonna be a really good year for the league. Where last year it just got kind of boring, where it's like fuck, like week
I'm
4,
also
5 teams
not sure
coming up.
Malik Neighbors isn't going to be like. I mean, I was tempted. It was hard. It was hard to not hard to pick my wide receiver room, but the Neighbors Dell Amari just in fantasy, what it could be stuck out even amongst some of the bigger rooms.
That's the thing. I mean, when you're looking
I
at
was
Amaral,
gonna
especially
say
when we're
Malik.
talking like the first month before the bye weeks kick in, and it's we're just playing our best guys. Like Amaral's got a damn good team. I mean, Tua and Baker are two guys. Tua led the league in passing yards last year. Obviously they're young running backs. They're stepping into these new roles, so we'll see how they take those over. That's a good wide receiver room, and then he has a guy that could be who was last year the tight end one. So it's like when we're looking at starting lineups, like it's like I was making my joke, but it's like even Amaral's team in those weeks is going to be very competitive, and then we'll see how he can handle the bye weeks and everything. But it's like, yeah, I mean, we have, besides McMorrow, I think everybody's starting lineups like pretty good.
McMorrow. I mean, bro, quiet as it's kept. The only thing drafted from the Mighty Two Pins or once Mighty Two Pins is their quarterbacks, and really because it was Mahomes, like they only got drafted once, right? In this, it was just
Shit,
that.
yeah.
That's crazy to me. If you told me that like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have. If you explained the draft, I would not have believed you. So you never know. You never know. But and they
I
could
would
very
like to
well be
just
one of the best
say
teams.
that I think I'm better than Simcoe.
Oh, Simcoe's team
Oh,
sucks.
you know what?
I was
I
gonna
do
say,
not
no,
we want-
apologize. I just honestly, I was almost like colorblind to his team. Yeah, I looked right past his team. It just didn't even stick out to me. Yeah, let me give you your flowers there. Yeah, Simcoe
Thank
is
you.
the team that's on the outside looking in.
Yeah, a clear-cut 10th best team in the league.
You gotta feel good about that. You can rest your hat on that. Lock that in.
No, Simcoe and McMorrow chilling at the bottom. That's how they want it. Those two, they got their group chat. You know how they go. So, all right, we'll call it there. I will try and get this all edited. I will definitely have this posted. Before noon. I think I would like to aim for, and yeah, we'll give everybody a chance to watch the video, and then I'll post the rosters and post a poll, and we'll see who everybody thinks drafted the best team. So we'll leave it at that. And thank you guys for doing this. I thought this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was worried this was going to be a mess because the concept is a little wonky. This ended up going pretty smooth. So yeah, this was a pretty good time. So thank you guys for that. And we'll see what we do moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Commish.
Peace.